before we continue, just so you know, my presentation translated not very well in my MacBook in PowerPoint. So we're all going to go on a journey here today to see what the slides look like. I don't have a clicker, so if somebody could just take me to the next slide. Perfect. So I'm here today to talk to you. Oh, thank you. What do I do? Do I just press it? Oh, okay. Let's just have a little look. Okay. So yeah, I'm here today to talk to you about the subject of innovation. It's a really interesting topic for me, really close to my heart. I spend a lot of time speaking to retailers about this, and there's just a lot of learnings which I've come across in the last few years. So I chose 4 main learnings today to tell you a little bit about. And before we go into these one by one, I actually wanted to kind of take a step back, hopefully, and really talk about actually the subject of why we actually continuously innovate. Why would you kind of make this? And of course, if you're a retailer in the room, you might say, well, obviously, we need to stay ahead of the game. We need to be competitive. If we don't innovate, we're going to die. And yeah, you're absolutely right. That is the reason. But really, why are we doing this? What we're doing it is for the retailer, the customer. And essentially, there's a gentleman called Noriaki Kano, and he essentially published an article in 1984 about customer satisfaction, about how a product can be implemented, and basically how satisfaction can almost depreciate over time with regards to a product. Hence the reason why you have 4 features which can be put together to form something called the Kano model. And his idea was essentially about continuously using the Kano model onto a product so that the satisfaction of a customer remains the same. Now, I invite you to go and take a look at this, delve into it a bit deeper, but the takeaway was about the natural decay of delight. And effectively what this is talking about a customer that interacts with a product, and over time, their delight on that product essentially depreciates. And he's right. If you think about, the iPhone back in 2007, I mean, that was absolutely delightful. But over time, the idea of like the touchscreen, for instance, that's just today like a basic. So of course then retailers, if you apply this to products, if you apply this to kind of your business, of course you are having to continuously innovate. You absolutely have to do this, otherwise there's a natural decay of delight. So it's about the customer. So, okay, so maybe you might want to take the Kano model back to your business, back to what you're doing with your kind of with your team, and you might then hit a problem before you even start continuously innovating. You might think, okay, how can I actually get my team on board? So this is my first learning actually that I have found working with retailers. I've realized that people really are at the heart of true innovation. So it might be, or maybe if you're already experiencing this, it can be exhaustive. If you have an idea, if you have the need to do something great with your business or come up with the next big idea, the next big thing, you might struggle if you don't have people or your team with you that's behind you to kind of drive that with you. And it can become really exhaustive. So I would say, or what I've seen is those companies that basically empower their people, those companies that essentially, rather than being an exhaustive exercise to innovate, the companies that are actually energizing their teams are the ones that are actually winning at the moment. And if you can find a real deep sense of purpose within your business, you can actually connect that to the people. The example here is the Lego Group. They took the deep sense of purpose that I'm talking about. They effectively, their idea was that essentially they wanted to bring learning through play to children all over the world. So a very, very simple idea, but that one kind of North Star, that source of truth, highly motivated Lego's people, and it became this extremely innovative company that, with that one source of purpose, has actually made them the company that they are today. So that was about the people, and it's no longer a 9-to-5 job for them. They have this kind of, we're helping children around the world where we're bringing the joy of learning to them around the world, and that is what's caused them to be so successful. My second learning that I want to share is actually this idea of it just being a simple thing, simple tactics to be innovative. This is not a famous person. This is actually a friend of mine in another company that I work with. And effectively, he said something intelligent, so he gets to have a slide. And essentially what he was saying was, actually, you don't have to have the next big innovative thing. You don't have to come up with a cool idea. What you could actually do is just think simple and think of things that others are maybe doing and employ them to your business to see if you can get better results. And no great company has done this, really, in my mind, than this particular company, Pura Vida. The short story of them is it was college graduates who were traveling around Costa Rica. They came across artisans who created bracelets, living in poverty. They essentially gave them some money, got some bracelets, long story short, brought it to New York, sold those bracelets, and it's now a multi-million-dollar business. But the really kind of simple tactics that they used was the power of consumer sharing. So they have a whole kind of Instagram following. It's about 2 million followers now. There's a tribe that kind of follow this Pura Vida lifestyle, this kind of simple life, and it's all through bracelets. The user-generated content here, though, if you go on their website, you click on the Instagram, you can see like the picture and pictures of regular people posting, and those bracelets can actually be connected to products in the cart directly, making it just a whole kind of consumer sharing. So rather than just showcasing products with models, you're actually doing it with a community. It's like a simple thing, using Instagram to be able to sell. The other thing, very, very simple, they actually went into a subscription model business as well. So you can go to their monthly club, you can subscribe, you get sent these wonderful bracelets if you've already bought on to the kind of messaging that they have. And every month you'll get a really nice selection of bracelets. And what's even great is they've leveraged their reviews. So again, simple tactic, people have been doing it for ages. And every day, pretty much, they've got almost 17,000 reviews. There's people just posting about how great this is. So again, consumer sharing, just leveraging simple things that are now helping this business to become, a $1 million company. My third learning, it's kind of an obvious one, so it'd be weird if I didn't share it. You really do need to take risks in order to have great innovation. It's just one of those things, that kind of saying of no risk, no reward kind of thing. It's it's kind of scary, but if you want to remain competitive, you really just have to do it. You have to be adaptable. You have to be, able to just come up with ideas, but be okay with it and not be afraid. And no great story here is about this great company, Japanese company called Uniqlo. And what they did was they are up against the likes of Zara, H&M, Gap, Forever 21. So they're up with the big competitors. But what they're doing is it's slightly different. So Zara, Forever 21, these are all people that follow trends. They produce clothes. When that trend ends, they go on to the next trend, produce clothes, so on and so forth. Uniqlo decided to be a little bit different. They still wanted to compete with them, but they were like, no, let's try to do something a bit more different with our product, but still go after the same consumers. And Tadashi Yanai, the founder of Uniqlo, basically said famously, he was like, we're not a fashion company, we are actually a technology company. And this is true in the products that they've now developed. And heat tech, Aerism, look it up, it's really cool. They're using things like milk protein atoms to make these kind of really wearable products, but they are still going after the same customers that are shopping at Zara, shopping at H&M. It's affordable technological products, but for all. And it's a very interesting risk. He almost kind of swerved, so didn't follow the trends, went off into kind of that sort of basic level. And today, this is a multi-billion-dollar company. They are, continually growing, equally as fast as, let's say, Zara. And they are actually on track to surpass Zara by the year 2020, which is what Tadashi wanted to do when he first started out. My fourth learning is related to what I was saying earlier. And this is actually kind of just true in general and in life. Not to let the fear of change stop you from taking risks. I've worked I mean, over the years with many people, many companies where they're so successful, retailers who've done so well, but in order to try to get themselves to the next level or to kind of think of the future, it's really hard because they're very set in tradition. They're very much not wanting to kind of change, and it's really, really hard to kind of get them to take risks. And I understand it. You know, it's a very kind of difficult thing. However, if you don't get over your fear of making these changes, it actually can be a detriment to your business. So I know I've been talking about some successes, but actually, the great kind of failure here was Blockbuster. So effectively, Netflix back in 2000, they had about 300,000 subscribers. They were suffering a little bit because they were really dependent on the US Postal Service. And what they did was they went to Blockbuster and they were like, you know, they offered to be acquired. And the idea would have been that Netflix would become Blockbuster online, and they would handle all the kind of online business, and then Blockbuster, the stores, would handle all the kind of DVD logistics side of things, thus alleviating a little bit from the US Postal Service. Blockbuster declined. They decided to carry on in what they were doing. And yes, as you can see in the graph, Blockbuster is no longer, and Netflix today is about 134 million subscribers. And you know, I think their net worth is 150 billion. And the lesson here is that at the time, Blockbuster were set and they were doing really well in the 90s. They just did not want to make that risk. They didn't want to go into that sort of level. And it was to do with fear to make some of these changes. And this is the reason why, potentially, they let their kind of business, they let themselves go out of business. But there are some brands who are very traditional, especially in luxury. And they actually are brands, which is really nice to see, are finally catching on, and they're finally being innovative, which is really great. So I wanted to sort of almost kind of coming to an end, tell you a little bit about these brands. So you've got people like Burberry, who are, they partnered with Apple, and they're doing some really engaging, creations with artists, where the Burberry users are downloading these apps. They're becoming a lot more engaged with the Burberry brand, thus becoming brand advocates. Prada, I mean, well, if you don't know the Prada story, basically they refused to pretty much be online up until 2016. And they've also joined the party, a little bit late, but they're joining. And they've got some VR and augmented reality stuff going on. So they're all kind of like following each other, which I suppose is in a way not the right thing to do, but they're finally moving into kind of this digital age, I suppose. But the best example here, which I really, really like, is Swarovski. So what they did was, yes, they did the VR app like everyone else, but you can actually go to this private virtual tour. You can actually look around this room, pick products, and with, I think it's like a nod, you can actually buy the products. So it's kind of within your virtual reality experience, you can just buy a product. And this is the first time this has happened, where the checkout experience is in your kind of like general general thing. So it's really, really interesting what Swarovski are doing with Mastercard, and it's almost like innovation with innovation. So, and to end though, the final example really is Gucci. This is my favorite because I think they are probably the epitome of digital transformation. They've tried everything and are doing everything. They've partnered with Snapchat. They've done this simple thing like memes and collaborated with artists to kind of do a whole thing on their site. There's some really rich branded content happening. They have a VR app. Anything that you can think of, they've done it. Their digital strategy has literally paid off, and they finished 2017 in triple digits. So to kind of end, or also just to sort of say, yes, you could probably do maybe one of my learnings per each case, and you have successes. But Gucci, there's 4 things that you could actually apply, and it really can give you better success. And yeah, I think that is the end of my talk. It's nice and short and sweet, so thank you. And yeah, if there's any questions, let me know. I can't really see, so I don't really know. Oh, okay. Do you know what? I think everyone's gone to the other talk, so maybe you can just shout and I can... Oh, thank you. I really appreciate it. Gave them some like real hard work. Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that I definitely wanted to read a chance to redigest this. So if you are able to post this anywhere and share it, or like
Yeah, I can. Well, I mean, I'll see you later over drinks, so yeah, I can share them. Yeah, no, absolutely. I'll be happy to share them. Actually, yeah, please take my email if anybody wants that. And just, yeah, feel free to message me. I'll be happy to share them. I do believe we're meant to be getting filmed as well, so I don't know if you want to kind of, do that. But yeah, just contact me. I'll be happy to share.